Hey there, thanks for turning around the bullets. I did some experimentation. I thought I would show you what it looks like after our last revision. So first, let me just jump right into it. Man, I love the effects. They're so good. And perception of how you see something based on how you see it in the environment and what that looks like, all kinds of other things. So I went through a bunch of additive blending, a bunch of other things to explore. But, oh, actually, let me start a, real quick, let me start this replay buffer so we can take a look at that. All right, cool. All right, cool. And there we go. So, yeah, so here we go. I think at first blush, I think we're pretty close in terms of where we're at. I like the thickness of the lines. I scaled these down to essentially, in terms of sprite sheets, to 512 by 512. This is 1-to-1 in the engine at this point too. And then some other, let me drop that real quick. There's a button. I'm gonna push all the buttons. Hang on a second. And let's see. Goodness. Don't push buttons in a while and things happen. Here we go. Let's try this. Because it's easier to talk about things when you're flipping things around. Cool. Right, hey, me. Be quiet, me. All right, cool. All right, sweet. So I think when I'm looking at this, right, there's a few things. One is that I think that the glow that we have is a bit flickery. When I'm imagining the glow, I'm thinking of like an amniotic fluid sac, and it can warble, right? But right now it's flickering on and off. And I kind of started messing around a little bit to see if I could update the look of that and what that looked like. So so I was thinking we could do a revision where we kind of bring in the glow to be more of like a sac, like a fluid sac. It should warble, right, and do its thing. And then I think the other thing, I think that also what's important is, so orientation. God, I hate 3D space sometimes, even in a 2D engine, even when you're doing 2D. So this is how I wound up needing to flip the sheet to get the, and it's the way that I've set up the project, but basically to get what is the perception of, let's see here, of the front part. So when we have, because I can frame step through this. So here, it's just the way I perceive it, because most of the bullets are going to come from the right to the left. And I really wanted to make sure that the inchworm part, like, I don't know, I think we're calling it the plasma inchworm bullet. I don't know what else to call it, right? It's fun. But you can see here that essentially, come on, where's all my buttons? Yeah, so we have this this conveyance of direction, right? And I think the sac, the blue sac part here, I think that's all good. And then we have this little thing where the tail leaves the sac, and then that, in my mind, winds up conveying more direction. It reinforces that weird, I know, plasma inchworm kind of thing. So I like where we're at with that. Very, very good. I think, and then one of the things I wound up doing here is I did a quick test where I took the glows, brought in the glows over the top of the bullets again, and then essentially I changed the opacity by 40%, and I'll give you a look at what that looks like here. How cool is that? The engine updates so quickly. You're just like, oh, change a file, flip backward runtime, and update. Yeah. So I kind of like, and granted, it's all flickery, but I think having just a little bit of that like extra glow over the top, and I turned off additive blending because as these whites wind up layering on top of each other, they actually kind of get more blown out for this bullet style, and then they become very hard to read when they're in additive blending for when they're, no surprise, the way it should work. So when you have whites over the brighter colors like we do in this particular case, then they become harder to read there. So I think the key takeaway bits are, let's make the sac a little bit bigger. Let's go with like a more of an organic warble. Keep where the tail is escaping, and then we'll flip the sprite sheets to this particular orientation. Easy enough to do in this case. Other than that, I was curious what your thoughts were since you got a chance to look at it. I didn't see that. I know we went back and forth on the bullet impacts and what that looks like. And yeah, I think those are the main bits of feedback. So maybe another turnaround, and then again, just coming back to look at it, right? Like I like where we're going. The bullets might scale up or down a little bit. That's totally fine on my side. Yeah, I think that is it. Let me just double check my notes real quick. I'll pause this. Okay, and I think probably one of the only other things to do here is why don't we kick it up a few notches, and we'll just do something crazy so we can see what some of these bullets would look like if we were doing a boss pattern or something bigger. So I'm just going to quickly go in here, and I'm going to change the bullets to, I don't know, 50. Why don't we try that? Maybe what I change? That was number of bullets 50. I think it's bullet interval. That's actually weird that didn't change. All right, it's probably the way that I've set that up. 1 second. All right, and yeah, so I forgot that in the way that I did the looping behavior for the bullets, that I only had the shooting duration down to very, very short. Yeah, so here we can get a sense for what this looks like, kind of in the bigger bullet streams and what that looks like there too. So, yeah, so I think, I mean, as a sort of pilot project prototype test, I like the look. For the folks that are watching, feel free to put some comments down in the comment section and let me know what you guys think. Definitely happy to hear all feedback too. So yeah, you can see that for Interstellar Sentinel 2. Maybe we'll even do a refresh of bullets for Interstellar 1. We'll see how it turns out. But yeah, so I think that we're rapidly approaching a good place with some of our design bits. So yep, so as a recap, we'll work on that flicker, and I think animation wise I'm feeling pretty good, and then maybe get a little bit more of that transparency for a little bit of a kind of a sack like, put it on top of the bullets itself to soften up just a tiny bit. I love the hard edges that we've got going on, and yeah, I think that's it, and I appreciate the time. For everyone that's been watching and following along, thank you so much, and we'll see you all next time.